Mokato. It's showtime. Mokato, your number one podcast in the whole world. We talk about wealth, health, relationships, religion, and many exciting topics. Mokato. Think about it.
Sometimes you gotta look outside.
Today's hot topic on Mocha Talk: how to raise children with special needs and how to live with people with special needs.
Forget about the sleepless nights.
Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned when we come back to talk to us about today's hot topic. Miss Bongani Shikwambana.
Welcome right here on Mocha Talking. It's a beautiful day indeed, and why not? I have the beautiful Miss Bongani Shikwambana right here. And Miss Shikwambana, you are one of the creams of this country, because you've been to the NTA. You were the provincial winner when it comes to excellence in special needs teaching. You also you're the only, you can't believe this, she's the only woman in the whole country that is qualified as a tennis coach. That's amazing. But then, Miss Kwambani, I've said all these kind of things, but then like they say, it's much better when it comes from the horse's mouth. Who is Bongani Shikwambana?
Thank you once more, Moka, for welcoming me to your show. Bongani Shikwambana is an educator from one of the special schools in the country. I am the youngest educator who is so in love with these kids that I am teaching.
Okay. She is bubbly, as you can see that, and she says she's the youngest, and that should inspire a lot of youth to actually even go for teaching and all that. You specialized, of course. You don't just wake up and do any subject. You specialized in this. You are a university graduate, and of course you amazingly chose some of the most needed subjects on taking care of children with special needs. And that brings me to our today's topic: how to raise children with special needs. And we are very much lucky here to our viewers, of course, that we have her here, somebody that is qualified. But then to somebody that is sitting at home, would you please define what is it when we say a child has a special need? What are we talking about?
When we talk of children with special need, we are referring to children who are physically challenged, intellectually challenged, and even most of them have developmental delays, and some of them even have behavioral challenges. So those are the children with special needs.
I hear that sounds like a definition, but I can tell you right now, Ms. Bongani Shikwambana, somebody that is slow like myself in understanding these kind of things will want to I'm sure you want to know as the viewer the types there are types of these special needs, and maybe the examples that comes with the type. Do you have that? Can you break it down to our viewers? Let them understand exactly in full what are the types and the examples.
Yes, we do have different types of these special needs. Mm-hmm. We have physically challenged learners. Mm-hmm. We have learners who are blind, learners who are deaf, and the ones who are intellectually impaired, even the ones who are MMH, which are mild and moderate impaired. Okay. So when we talk of a child who is physically disabled or physically challenged, we're talking about a child who is on a wheelchair, or the one who doesn't have legs or doesn't have hands. Some of them, they do have hands and legs, but they have a working difficulty. So when we talk of a child who is blind, we have two different types of blindness. There are those who are totally blind, and there are those who are partially blind.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
So we also have deaf children. When we talk of deaf children, these are the ones who cannot hear, but they can see. So, and we also have the MMH ones, the mild and moderate impaired children. These ones are very slow in every area.
And what is that abbreviation you say?
MMH.
MMH.
Yes.
And you're saying these kids are, how are they?
They are slower in every area of their life. Whatever that they do, they do it slowly.
I see.
Yes. So they need someone with patience when working with them. Yes.
Like can you give us an example? Like, are they slow in let's just say, in other words, there will be one learner that will understand something much quicker than they do, or are they slow in if you send them to the kitchen to get water, for an example? How are they slow? What do you mean by they are slow? Especially in a home environment.
When we talk about their slowness, I'm not referring to walking or sending them to the kitchens and we say they will take time to come back. No,
all right.
I'm referring to their slowness intellectually. Like when it comes to academic stuff, they take information slowly. Let's say, for an example, you want them maybe to do skills because academically they are not doing well. They do skills. So in order for them to understand what you want them to do, you use pictures because they can't read.
I think we will come to the solutions, and right now we most definitely, she just defined for us, and she also gave us the types and the examples, and we really appreciate that. But then coming back to today's topic, it says, how does one raise a child with special needs? We've had the definition, we've had the examples, but then given all that, we still have to raise them. Am I correct?
Yes, we do.
In a loving and appreciative way and all. But then how does one raise a child with special needs? Especially because there's no school for that for parents. You are fortunate. You are fortunate because you're from school. But then I can imagine a parent that, just wakes up in the morning and they hears a child, and we really appreciate all kids, and here's a child is born in their family, and then the child has disability of some sort, or they are not they have special needs, which is the correct term that I want to use. How does one parents, at home, not at school? Yes, of course we can touch what happens at school, but then at home, what does a parent do?
It is very challenging, but not impossible. It is possible to raise a child with special needs. It becomes a challenge, most especially to parents who are young, because they have dreams to travel around the world, to do things at their own time. But once they have a child who needs special needs, with special needs, their plans change immediately. So they need to adjust in order for them to accommodate that particular child. And these kind of children with special needs, they need to be accommodated specially. For an example, if you have a child who's using a wheelchair or will be wheelchair bound, you must make sure that the room is big enough for him for him or her to be able to move around. And
so things change.
Yes, the setup of the house changes.
For the sake of or to accommodate
this particular child. And even the restroom, it must be modified to the size of that child so that they don't need assistance always when they have to do things. Like even with the blind child, you have to orientate him or her around the house so that they know how to move around the house without any assistance from anyone. And
that's good.
Yes.
And do they eventually know, without the help or a helper, do they find their way around the house after the orientation?
Yes, they do. They do. Most especially the ones on the wheelchair. If there's a ramp, they usually don't need help to move around. The ones who are blind, they can use a stick. But as time goes by, most of them don't use a stick anymore if they are familiar with the place where they are. they can move.
I've heard of this interesting story, and this gets to show us that God's work is amazing, and we of course, with the aid of people like you who are helping children who have those kind of conditions, where one person that was blind, they just or most of them, just to put it clear, most of them, they will just hear you greet and they ask you your name, and then when they hear you the next time, they just pick you, they call you by name because they know your voice.
Yes, and they're so very intelligent.
Very intelligent, of course.
Yes, they are very intelligent.
Remember, right here on Mocha Talk, these are people that just have few challenges.
Yes.
They are ordinary people, smart, some of them more smart than you and I.
Exactly. That's true.
And then you want to continue, how do we help others? I've had those that are on a wheelchair.
Yes, we have challenges. The parents have challenges raising these kids. Most of the challenges that they are having are financial challenges, because most of these children are chronics. So their medication is expensive. Even their daily uses are expensive. That's why the social grant that is assisting them. So even the parents most of them need psychological help.
So there is we need financial support.
Yes.
In order to raise these kids.
Yes.
And the parents as well need, because right now you're touching on challenges, and which is one way. But then how do we, for an example, just to go back a little, how do we help? We've heard about, like I said, the wheelchair one, the one that is blind, the one that cannot hear. How do we help them before we can actually? Because I know that there are people that are helping those kids, and they will face challenges. We'll come to the challenges later.
Yes.
But then, how do we help the deaf? How do we help the slow learners? Yes. You want to take us through that?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
With a deaf learner, as a family, it is very key to learn sign language as soon as possible.
That's good.
So that in your communication, the learner doesn't feel isolated, because he or she cannot hear what you're saying. But when you use sign language, it shows that you are including her in whatever conversation that you are having. And it's also very good for the society as well to be familiar with the language that the child will be using.
You just put a challenge to me right there that I need to. I thought I was done, and I'm not, and it does make sense that I need to learn the sign language, and I promise you right now, in one of my next shows, I'll start by greeting using what? Sign language.
That would be good.
That'll be good. Yes. That's my promise right here on Mocha Talk. Yes. So you and I, my viewer, we need to learn that, because it's a language that already in South Africa.
It's an official language. Yes.
That's wow. That's brilliant. And any other thing you want to say about the
intellectual?
Oh yes, we go to.
Yes, we can look at the intellectual impaired ones and the MMH. I'll start with the MMH. The MMH are the ones that I said they are slow in everything, and these kids academically they are not doing well. But I would like to say to the parents, they shouldn't give up on them. They need to support them one way or the other. There is something that they are doing good, most especially when it comes to skills like baking. They do well in that department, because since they cannot read or write, you can use graphics where you just draw maybe 5 cups of flour to show that these are the measurements that they are supposed to use. And we also have different sporting codes that they can do, even when they're not doing well academically, like wheelchair tennis, wheelchair basketball, athletics, CP soccer. There are sporting code for them. So we must not always concentrate on the academic side of it. Yes.
Because who came with the academics? Maybe it's not the correct way of raising everybody. Some people I used to get some low marks in mathematics myself, and you wouldn't blame me. So yeah, maybe when we Miss Bongani Shkombani, maybe would you say with module we show them in pictures, and they work in groups,
Yes.
and then in of course we have to monitor the whole situation.
Yes, because they
Will
cannot
that
do-
help the child?
Yes, it does. They do better in groups. They do.
Okay.
Yes, because I think they feel that they are involved in something when they're doing it in a group, and that is very good. They must also do it at home. As when something is done at home, please involve them. Make sure that they are part of whatever that you are doing. They feel special and loved in that way.
And when they are alone, when module, and if they understand pictures or demonstration, then because they were workshopped during group discussions or group project, now they are able to do that alone
Yes.
if you demonstrate to them with pictures or showing them. So they right there, right here on Mocha Talk, those that we consider them slow learners, she is saying that if we demonstrate to them, and maybe in pictures, maybe they understand pictures more,
Yes,
maybe
they
they
do.
understand demonstration more. They want to see instead of being told.
Yes.
That's brilliant. So and they turn out to be very, very good in what you taught them. Is just that the methodology of teaching which is different.
Yes.
That's quite amazing. And any other thing that you want to say when it comes to how to raise kids with special needs? Did we forget something?
No, I think we covered everything.
All right.
Yes.
That's good. And I can imagine right now that much as we say all these things, there must be challenges. Those that are involved, the parents, the children in the house, the other children at school and everything. Are there challenges, real challenges that needs to be attended to, or maybe we can actually even come up with solutions?
There are many challenges when it
Okay.
comes to raising a child with special needs.
Okay.
Number one, it can be financially, because these children are on acronics, most of them.
What's
And
that? What's acronym?
They're on medication month to month to month.
Okay.
So, and their medication is expensive. So some parents doesn't have medical aids to take care of their kids. So they have to go to public hospital. Sometimes they get assistant properly, sometimes they don't. So that's why they need social grants, so that it helps them to take good care of these
So
children.
the first challenge right there, it's the financial one.
Finances, yes.
So those that have medical aid, they get it easier, and those without, they compromise to a level where they can.
And I can say our government is doing a very good job,
Most
when it comes
definitely.
to special needs learners and children.
So
they
they-
are really helping.
So they can go to public hospitals.
They can. There are hospitals that
There's help.
have-
What is the second challenge when it comes to raising a child with special need?
Another challenge that we are having is psychological,
What do you mean psychological?
where the parent, you find that the mother or the parents of that particular child are failing to accept the child as he or she is.
Oh.
So they go through the psychologist in order for them to get help. Some parents are seeing a special need child for the first time in their life, and that is their child that they need to raise.
And they see it as a curse of some sort.
Yes, so they need psychological checkups so that they get help on how to raise this child, and they also need support from the family, whereby you find that sometimes the father is not there to support the mother. It leads to divorce sometimes because the father is unable to accept that child with special need, whereby the mother has to go through the processes of the psychologist, the physiotherapist
Alone.
alone. So it's stressful at a time. So these parents need support, really.
We're becoming popular with as fathers, runaways, and so fathers needs to be there for all situations in their children's life, and we're saying that they need psychological support where they will be counseled to say, this is the situation that you find yourself in, and you're gonna do 1, 2, 3. You're not gonna run away. You're not gonna have this self-pity. You have to face it and win.
Yes, and it's easy when both parents are there for that particular child, because at the end of the day they grow up, and when they grow up they tend to go back to how they were raised, and it affects them even academically. So when they get that love from home before they can go to school, they tend to accept themselves as well.
You are bringing something very, very important. So we were talking of children now, and now, by the way, they grow up.
Yes, they do.
And there's more challenges even there.
Yes, that's why we need to train them while they are still young, so that they don't have to depend on anyone when they're grown, because they end up feeling like they are burdens. If they need to be helped on whatever that they need to do. But when they have that freedom, they can move around on their own, they can do things for themselves. They tend to live a happy life like any other child.
And when they are grown-ups, they don't feel like they are burdens and all that. So the early stages, when they're still very young, it's very important. Parents need to be there, the both of them need to support them. And when you talked of the emotional support and all that, I can imagine if this child has siblings and they can get affected seeing one of their own, somebody that they love, not being the same as them. So they also will need that kind of counseling and support and say, this is the situation and we're gonna win. This is what we're gonna do, and life must go on, and everything must. We must be happy as a family, even in the situation.
Yes.
Wow.
And I think we are doing better as a country, because back in the days they used to hide these children. You find that there's a child with special need next door, but the neighbor doesn't know that there's a child like that. So these days, at least, we're getting there, whether they leave them to play outside with other kids and they're exposed to the outside world, so that whenever other kids see this child, they don't get surprised or laugh or tease at them. So they can tend to live their life.
And we really appreciate that. Also, kids that help those that are in wheelchairs, I see some kids.
And they love each other. They love each other.
They are lovable.
Yes.
They are lovable. So
you won't even ask one child to help the other one. They just do it.
That's beautiful.
Just like that. Yes.
That's actually very nice. Any other challenge there is?
Yes, there are. As I've said, that the challenges are many. The other one can be arrogancy from the child. If the child is not well raised, like maybe he or she doesn't get support from home. So even if you can take that child to a school, wherever you take the child, that child might not perform well because they have anger, because of the support that they are not getting from home. So they must get support from home, so that they carry the support outside wherever they are going. So that helps a lot. Yes.
That's quite helpful.
Yes.
Tell me, are there solutions to this? I had all these advices and they're very good, and they're gonna help quite a lot of people out there in the whole world. And thank you so much for coming in. Are there schools and job opportunities for children with disabilities and adults? And of course, we said they're gonna grow up. Are there opportunities, or we're discriminating against them?
We are not. There are many opportunities for these children with special needs, even the adults with special needs. There are many opportunities out there for them.
Okay.
And there are schools for them. Different schools. We have many schools in South Africa that caters for learners with special needs. But we don't just take a child. I just wake up in the morning and take a child and say, I want to take my child to this particular school.
Oh, okay.
There's a procedure that we follow. We take the child to the psychologist. So the admission of these particular children is determined by the report from the psychologist on whether the child is supposed to be catered at a special school that caters for learners with physical challenges or deaf or even blind. Because there are some children who have multiple disabilities. You find that the child is on a wheelchair, he or she's physically challenged, as we can look at her, myself and you. But when the psychological report comes back, you find that she's also intellectually impaired. So this particular child must be taken to a school where intellectual impairment is catered for. Because if we can wrongfully place this child at a school that does not accommodate his diverse needs, we won't be doing any justice to the child. For an example, if a child who is intellectually impaired is placed at a school for physically challenged learners, academically those ones are doing good, but the one who is intellectually impaired is not going to do good. So her self-esteem, obviously, we are killing it because he or she is wrongfully placed.
So placement does not necessarily mean segregation. It's to the interest of the child.
Yes.
And the child will develop better when they are at this particular school. And she is saying right here, only a psychologist can determine that.
Yes.
Right here on Mocha Talk, very interesting and very necessary topic, and you are packing it very, very well. These psychologists, where do they find them? Do they have to pay? Where are they? If a parent sees something needs to be done for my child, where do they go? Where are these psychologists? How much do they charge?
The psychologists are at the government hospitals.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they don't charge anything. What a parent has to do is just to book because they work with appointments. You don't just pitch in and say, I'm here for you to check my child. No, they don't work like that. They work with bookings.
So all over South Africa, there was hospitals, there's psychologists.
Not all hospital does, but immediately when you go to a hospital that doesn't have a psychologist, they will refer you to the one with a psychologist.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's helpful. Job opportunities?
They are very privileged.
Oh, okay.
Because they are well considered when it comes to job opportunities, but they need to have qualifications like myself and you.
Oh, all right.
They need to qualify,
Yeah.
but they are the first preference when it comes to job opportunities.
If you equally qualified and there's somebody with special needs, they will be considered before you.
Yes.
Which is good.
Yes.
Which is good. We really appreciate. Is that the law in South Africa? Can we clap hands for South Africa if that is the law? Is that the law that they must be?
Yes.
All right, that's good. That's good. So South Africa doing something very good right there, something that the world can learn from. You always learn from South Africa. Most of you won't say it, but you learn a lot of things from South Africa, especially when it comes to democracy and all that. So we're very much privileged. Do you have helpline numbers where these people can call, organizations of some sort?
We have different organizations in South Africa.
Okay.
I will go through them according to the special needs that I spoke about. So I'll start with the Blind SA. Then their number is 011 839 1793. And the Deaf Federation of SA, which is DEFSA, is 011 482 1610. Disabled People South Africa, which is DPSA, is 021 422 0357. And the other number is 010 590 1183. We have Down Syndrome SA, which is DSSA. Their number is 0861 369 672. And we have SA Federation for Mental Health, which is SAFMH, and their number is 011 7811852.
All right. Those are helpful numbers right there, right here on Mocha Talk. And it looks like there's quite lot of places where you can get help. Listening to what you're saying right here and giving us all those useful numbers. And if somebody or a department or a school or any organization, including those that you whose names you read there, want to say, I want Bongani to come and talk. Parents will call parents. They'll be in one place, and you must come talk to them and teach them all this, because it's not everyone that's gonna watch this episode, and others, because they don't have technology and all that, they won't hear this message. But then if somebody is concerned, let's call this lady to come here. Do you have an email, or do you have handles on social media? Where do they get you?
They can get me on Facebook. My Facebook account is Bongani Shikwambana.
Okay.
They can also get me on my email, which is my name and surname together, bonganishikwambana@yahoo.com.
Right there, and strictly you contact her if you want her to come and help the parents or the children, and then she'll be available. Right here on Mocha Talk, we are so much thankful, and thank you very much, Miss Bongani Shikwambana, for gracing our show. And before you can say bye-bye to our viewers, and we need to remind all the viewers that this is Mocha Talk, and please do subscribe and always think about it. You want to tell them to think about it.
Thank you very much. To our listeners, it was a good thing for me to be here at Mocha Talk. Thank you again. Thank you once more.
Think about the morning light.
And
Think about it.
think about it right here on Mocha.
Forget about the sleepless nights. 'Cause everything will be alright. 'Cause everything will be alright. This is my street show. Don't worry about the future. This is my street show.